My name is Ayse Richardson, and I am originally from Turkey.
Turkey. And how long have you been in the United States?
Uh, like it's gonna be 25 years, I think. Like I came in 1997, March 1997, actually. So
Okay. So yeah, it's an anniversary month.
yeah, pretty much.
And when you first came to the US, did you speak English fluently or?
It wasn't bad. When I was in Turkey, I went to college where we like for tourism and hotel management. So we had to have English like kind of in a good place, and then we had to have the third language or second foreign language, which was German for my in my case, and then like I wasn't too bad, but I made mistakes. Obviously, I wasn't like, and I first came to Boston, and when I was at school, I had two teachers in college. Like one of them, like she very specifically wanted us to have a British accent, and then I had two other teachers, one for speaking teacher, one for writing. They were Americans. They when I say uh, like window in my British teacher's class, and she would be like, "No, darling, it's window." And I was like, "Okay, I'll try my best." So when I came here, I had some like issues with like some grammar issues, some pronunciation things, but people corrected me, and I don't take things personally when people do, because I take it as okay, this is how I do it. And then I observed, so I blended in. So
Well, it's fantastic. I mean, you could not tell that you are not a native English speaker now, so that's fantastic,
thank
right?
you.
Um, so tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do? What's your job? Tell me an overview.
I'm an actor, and I also am the founder and the artistic director for the Turkish American Repertory Theater and Entertainment. I know it's mouthful. That's why I say it short tart. So I founded my company in 2010, and I just wanted, like, I looked around and I didn't see that many Turkish American companies, especially theater companies, not really, not at all, to put up English spoken productions. I wanted to put up something that brings the Turkish culture, but at the same time in English. So then I would go to broader audience and deliver it that way, instead of like dealing with super titles or subtitles. Because when you go to a theater, you this is too tiring, I mean, it's great to have it in the like own language. There are some things that we do that's included, yes, but in a general speaking, like when you go to a theater, you just want to sit there and enjoy, rather than having this exercise for your neck. That was my point of view. So that's how I started my company.
Excellent. It must be very interesting.
It is. I wrote the first show when we in 2011 January 28th, I believe, that we put it at the Symphony Space as a gala, and it was about the founder of Turkey. And there's a story that a lot of people don't know, that there was a little love story between him and Armenian girl, which was kind of like, I think, uh, was not spoken about because of the certain political issues that are happening. But at the same time, I wanted to bring it up because it is a human story, and also like there is like a heartfelt story of both of them, and how the politics can stop something that is um, very sweet and kind. So I started with that. I was inspired by a book, and I found the author, and I said, I'm gonna, turn it into, is it okay? And she was like, oh my God, yes. you're the first person. And she sent me all the rights. She's like, you can do whatever you want with it. And I turned into a show with a dance. It wasn't a musical. There was no singing, but there was a lot of dance numbers. So I added some comical characters, some other characters, and all of a sudden, like I had like 20 cast members. 11 of them were Americans, and 9 of them were Turkish.
Wow, wow. And have you always wanted to act and write and direct?
Always. I
Always.
when I was little, like before I went to school ever, so I would, this is so funny, I would go into the bathroom and then I would have these stories, and then without anybody hearing me, like I would spend about half an hour, and then I would hear my aunt raised me, so she would be like, oh, are you gonna come out? I'm like, you have to be quiet, I'll be out in a second. So I would record my stories into this little recording thing, like the old recording things, like they were like not that big, they were like small with a red button only, like you push the red button and it records. Like very simple. So I would sit there and write stories and act it out. And then when I was in elementary school, if there was like 6 productions, I was in each one of them. Like I would change behind the curtain. Like everybody's like, "What's wrong with her?" I'm like, "I just like to change." And you know, I would go into the dance number, or there's the poetry or whatever. I loved it. Like I loved stage and I loved performing. I don't know, like it just happened.
Yeah, I mean, that's lovely that you've had something you found so early on that you managed to turn into a career for you, right? It's very
Yeah,
unusual.
I know. I mean, I didn't do anything in Turkey. I had some obstacles, um, like family related, and some. It's a little different there, and so when I came to United States, that was my main goal. I said to myself, I'm gonna go and I'm going to get into a drama school and I'm gonna get it done for myself. So I had a goal. So when I first came in as an au pair to Boston, I applied. I sent my stuff to all schools, including Harvard, and I got an interview from Harvard for extension school for drama. I went to the interview, and I just said to myself, no, I'm not gonna get in. And you know, even though it's an extension school, you know how many people they are taking. And after I think 7 or 8 days, I get a call saying that, we would love to have you in the intermediate class. Would you like to come in? I'm like, yes. So that's how I started here. So I just wanted to have a proper education. Then my professor there, she was very nice. Bronya Wheeler, God bless her soul. She wanted me to meet Uta Hagen while I was studying there. She's like, you should go meet her. I'm like, okay. And she didn't want me to take another term up there. She's like, don't spend that money, keep that money and go to New York. New York is the place to be, and meet Uta Hagen and study there. So I went to New York one weekend and saw her play. And I met Uta Hagen face to face, and I said hello from my professor, and she went, how is that? with her cigarette in her hand and with her dog in her hand, and it was funny. And I explained like how Bronya Wheeler said hello and how she sent me over, and she's like, I'm not teaching right now, and you can go to HB and study with these people, and sent me off. That's how my journey started. So
Nice. So
yeah,
determination, really, yeah?
yeah, pretty much.
How important is it to you to keep hold of your culture when you're living here? Is it traditional culture, or do you want to change it and make it like an American Turkish identity?
It is a little tricky because I'm married to an American, and I have, children. Like my son he has been in Turkey a couple of times, but I was never brought up super traditionally. We were a modern house, but I have my values. I have my culture that I dearly keep close to myself, and I believe um, I mean, I also am very huge fanatic of Anatolia lands from far, far back. Like, I'm archaeology, history, ancient history is my, uh, hobby, let's put it that way. But I love the fact that it is so rich, and it has a lot of colors to it, and it has so many cultures that came together in that land, and that makes me uh, kind of like explore more. And then, in my view, I think my art can bring people more together than separate.
Yeah.
Um, I, for example, I have so many friends from Armenia. I have so many friends from Greece, and like when we sit down and talk, and when we talk about art, and we're like, this is ridiculous. We've been sharing the same culture, like with the lands and this and that. We find it kind of annoying to the human beings, like you want to live happily.
Yeah.
Like especially when you go through a pandemic like the one that we are going through right now, like you question everything, and you go like, yes, that's true. You want to live as much happy life as you want to get, because anything can happen, and you don't know when it's going to hit you. You don't know when it's going to come over to your life. But I want to keep my culture, but at the same time I want to spread that love and unity of the other cultures that came from there. So I am kind of like in pre-production of something that is exploring that at the
Nice.
moment. So yeah.
Yeah. When see, lots of our women who study with us, they're sort of held back sometimes by the norms for women in their own country, and now they're suddenly in America, and it's a big change of thing. Um, do you think that it's harder to be an immigrant woman than it would be for, say, an immigrant man?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, yes, yes.
Mm.
um First, oh, if you don't know anybody here, first of all, if you're I came here by myself. I didn't know
Wow.
anybody. So my first like step was like I was an au pair in a family's home, and then I did all these other approaches, like coming to New York over the weekend to meet the teachers and so on. But at the same time, when you move for real, that's when the you know the you get scared for sometimes, because I lived alone for 3.5 years. And someone tried to get into my apartment, for example, when I was inside the house. There are stuff that you have to be prepared for, I think, that you're not prepared for. And it is scary at times, but at the same time, you are not alone.
Yeah.
I kind of found that out on the line of figuring out things on the way, which was kind of more work for me. But I didn't mind, because I have a very hyper personality. So I'm like, okay, fine. If it's that what it is, I have to prepare for the next step. So what do I do? So I just go back and prepare myself for that. So it is more difficult, especially if you're a woman, and if you come from countries where women's strength is pushed down.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the right thing to say. Like, if you're coming from Europe, it's a little different, because it's like more, there's more freedom for women. But there are places in the world that people come from, like that women is not very powered, and then like a secondary, and it's which is not fair, because women want
Yeah.
everything pretty much. Um, but when women come from those countries, it is scarier, because there's more open opportunities, but then should I go forward or should I just stay where I am and someone will come and get me? Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those kind of steps are kind of scary. That's when some of the organizations or people like us come into play to help, you know. So
What's the best thing about being an immigrant with two cultures? And
I love it because then I can, I'm not comparing really, but I'm like enjoying the cultures from both sides, because even in Turkey, when you go from one region to the other, things change. And you find something even more colorful, different type of taste of food. It's the same in United States. Different things, different way of looking at things, and like different food. I happened to go to my friend's wedding in Memphis last like 2 years ago, and all of a sudden, like I'm like this, of course, before COVID. um, like music that you hear, and I was like, what? This is an amateur band? Are you kidding? I mean, even the amateur band sounds like, oh my gosh, like it took my soul and it flew and came back again. So it's that kind of a feel. Again, like I love being an immigrant. It has its challenges, but once you get through those challenges, it's quite nice. I love being an immigrant, and I'm proud of it.
and just two final very quick questions. But one is, how important do you think it is for young girls now to see somebody like you who, you know, knows different languages, different cultures, um, doing jobs that that really represent them? How important is that?
Um, I think it is good for them to see uh, it can be done. To if you put your head, how do you say that? If you put your thought onto something, and if you think that this is what you really want, you can do it. Um, you can't just sit there and have someone come and pick you. It's not going to happen. You have to work towards it. You have to work. I mean, I worked hard, but I enjoyed when I worked hard. I did 5 different jobs while I was working hard towards my goal, what I wanted to do. But when I did that, I even said to myself, okay, now I work in a coffee shop and there are 2 cameras there and there's a wide angle that is taking me. So I have to make sure I have my best angle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even though it was like long hours here, 2 hours there, that made it happen for me. So I wouldn't get discouraged at any point at all. I would go forward. If I get discouraged at some point, because you get tired while you're going forward, like it gets tiring. Like when you apply for 1,000 auditions, for example, maybe you'll get 2 callbacks, which is still something. And you have to be ready for rejection, and it is not personal. They have to understand it is never personal. Even though you put a job application for anything, um, nothing is personal, and you go for something else. Move on, move forward, keep moving forward. That's what I would say.
That's really a positive attitude to have, definitely.
Thank you.
So my final question is, what dreams do you still have that you want to achieve?
Okay, so this is the silliest dream since I was a young girl, that I wanted to play Meryl Streep's daughter on screen.
Okay.
That's my biggest, like this is my fantasy land. This is my biggest dream. But I really would love to be in a project where it's challenging, but kind of a bigger project that I worked at. And yeah, I really would like to play Meryl Streep's daughter.
Well, you never know if Meryl Streep watches this. But that's a fantastic dream to have, for
Thank
sure.
you. Thank
So
you.
dream
Yeah.
big. So thank you for your time today. This is wonderful, and I'm sure that everyone watching it is going to be really enthusiastic because you are so positive about things,
Thank
and
you.
that's something we need to hear more of.